Happy Pride Month, bitch! Happy Pride Month!
Happy Pride Month!
Hey beautifuls, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kago, but some call me Motswako Minaj. And this is
Buhle and I from Queer X Talks.
And together, Sobabili times 2. We're the baddest in the school, the baddest in the game, the best with the buzz, in our own fucking lanes. And this, oh darling, this is my channel. Now today we want to come in and bring you something a little bit more personal, something a bit more important. And we want to start a segment called Queer Talks. If you're new to this channel, or if you're new to seeing Butle's face, then you would know that on her channel she has a segment called Stud Talks. And we wanted to just extend that conversation and talk a bit more about the community as a whole, right? Queerness, the identity, the politics, our experience. And so today we wanted to talk about, Sean, what are we talking about?
We're speaking about queerness, right? We're speaking about not just being queer, you know, but the intricacies in being queer.
The experience.
The issues we face.
Exactly, because it's one thing to know queerness as a definition, but it's another thing to live it.
And to understand it.
And so today we wanted to talk a bit more about identity, the politics of queerness, and just maybe share our experience and explore the realms of this identity. Now, Queer Talks is going to be a segment that we'll be doing together on my channel. We might invite other queer bodies depending on how it goes. But for the whole of National Pride Month, we'll be talking everything queerness. This is the safe space for queer bodies, for all of us, right? And today we've got a lot to unpack. But the question is, who are you to be unpacking bags if you did not pack the bags themselves?
Did you guys pack the bag for it to be unpacked by you?
You know, when we talk about queerness, people tend to use the term queerness to umbrella term the whole community, the whole spectrum. But there's so many different experiences and nuances that go into the different identities. Now, queerness, yes, is an umbrella term for everything, but we want to become a bit more personal. We want to come just a little bit deeper. Inside, inside. What is queerness, but even more so, what is the LGBTQ plus IA plus?
You see, my friend, I think we cannot sit and box it.
Yes,
and say
definitely.
this is what it is. I think in layman's terms, what we can say is queerness is just not straightness. But we have to take it further than that, because of course there's more identities in queerness that are not only revolve around being attracted to the same gender, same sex, same...
We even need to take it further than that, because queerness is not in relation to straightness.
Exactly.
Queerness is not a word, it's not a line, it's not a girl that can ever be defined. Nicki Minaj lyrics.
Nicki Minaj lyrics.
Alright.
I think why it's been made an umbrella term is, as much as we don't always want to label ourselves, people need a place where they feel these are my people. But no one queer person is the same. Therefore, if I'm looking for someone who's exactly like me, I will never find my people.
Even if you share an identity.
Exactly. Therefore, that's why I think it's necessary that we have queerness as the umbrella term. But it's also dangerous.
It is dangerous.
It's also dangerous because our experiences, as I said, are so different.
We share a community but not an experience. Our experience might overlink and our experiences might have similarities. But we all experience queerness differently because of the spaces that we occupy.
I think that's also dangerous. What's dangerous is when people learn about queerness. I think they know about queerness because they've learned about it. With any experience, if you've not lived it, you cannot say that you know it.
And so, like Buhle said, queerness, LGBT-ness, is about not necessarily defining yourself or boxing yourself in, but about being able to be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's about being able to identify both yourself and people like you.
Exactly.
And I think that we want each other, right, to not feel awkward in those labels. As much as we may not want them, they are an identity of safe space, I'd like to believe, for a greater scheme of people. And so there's so many identities that exist in this community. But for some reason, this is the question. Why is it that some people can identify with a sexuality and orientation but not identify with the community? Let's unpack that. It's a lot, and maybe it's a lot for a first episode, but there is something to be said about an identity that is toxic. It's hard.
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's not about correction. But I do think, of course, identifying as something is your own choice.
Yes.
Not choice. It's you.
It's your life.
It's your life. But you need to understand that if we're involving people, now if we're speaking about, because identity is one thing, it's just who you are.
Yes.
But if we're now including attraction or romantic attraction or sexual attraction with other people, there needs to be openness.
Okay.
There needs to be honesty and respect. Therefore, it sort of does matter for you to disclose, this is how I identify, this is who I am.
When we talk about labeling ourselves, there's so much that goes into those labels, right? We talk about there being homosexual attraction, but sexually.
But pan-romantic.
Pan-romantic
I might
attraction.
be wrong in my wording of
yes.
it, but yeah, and that's what I wanted to say also is, I think we've really, and not us, but society has really boxed queerness into a sex thing.
Yes.
You know,
you're queer because you want to have sex with 1, 2, 3.
And the identity shouldn't be about sex, because queerness isn't about sex.
Exactly.
Right. Our attractions are multitudes. They just like the identities and the communities within the LGBT. Attraction is also a spectrum, and you could be bisexual and have romantic attraction to a certain spectrum of people, but a sexual attraction to a different spectrum of people.
Or no sexual attraction.
Or no sexual attraction at all.
But also, if it really does not affect, like, let me give an example.
Okay.
You know, I think a lived example for many people is, I know a lot of masculine women.
Okay, let's get into it.
A lot of masculine women.
And if she knows you, your name might pop up on the screen. Even better yet, snap us a heart.
I'm not listening. I am not listening. But a lot of masculine women are very against being with bisexual women.
Okay.
Because they feel like, oh. You know what I'm saying? But they've so many times gotten their heart broken by straight women. And that's my thing is, this person has disclosed their sexuality to you and said they're bisexual, you know? And I think biphobia comes into play.
Oh,
because being cheated on is being cheated on.
Regardless of who's...
Regardless.
Exactly.
Being cheated on is being cheated on.
Taking on that, I want to bring it to a man-to-man relationship. Right. You know, in this community that I live in this reality of man.
Because Peloton are very different.
They're very different. If you have not noticed by now, we are different people.
Very.
We belong in a community that we share. Our experiences are different though.
Very.
Right. And in my experience of this queerness, I've encountered a lot of men, a lot of femme men, like myself, right? Who, one, want masculine men, right? And therefore in itself are femphobic. Or two, go for straight men. Right? And we all know that there are people who are curious out there. But to make your whole sexual experience about going after straight people, we must talk about it. It's problematic. And is it a disservice to the community?
See, I'm gonna backtrack on it being a disservice to the community.
Okay.
I do think it's tacky.
It is tacky as fuck.
I do think your approach to being with people should never be wanting to turn someone.
Oh, definitely.
Although I don't think it's possible to turn someone.
Yes. Oh, no, surely not.
If you were gonna turn,
surely not.
You're gonna turn. I don't think it should ever be your intent. Because you're doing the exact same thing that, like, especially maybe masculine gay men who get it from women, or women who get it from men who always want to turn them. Like, it's the same thing. Yes, maybe there's less physical violence,
in the
being threatened,
yes,
but it's the same thing. So I do think it's messy, it's tacky. I don't know if it's a disservice to the community. Because,
on that point, I go ahead, continue.
Sorry, because if we're saying it's a disservice, we're saying then it paints everyone like that. And I honestly don't think.
But my question is, does each and every single queer body have a responsibility to the community to make it a safer space? If we're talking identity, and you say I identify with this community, does it then become your responsibility to make sure that every single space you walk in, maybe not bear the burden, but not do a disservice in removing the work that other people do for that community in all the spaces you walk into. Think about it, let it marinate. Nahanayan.
Okay. It's marinated.
Yeah.
I feel like, yes.
Yes.
It's my duty as a queer person to make sure the space is safe.
Yes.
Right.
For yourself and then everybody else.
Of course. But then, we need to understand that we've already been marginalized so much. I cannot be tiptoeing because I need to make sure the space is safe for someone else. Of course I want to do that, but it's like, but home. Other people have been living recklessly and it doesn't like affect their community negatively, be it straight people, be it Mahoa, be it whatever.
Different communities.
Exactly. It doesn't shine a bad light on all of them.
Okay.
So, yes, of course, my actions should not be
regressive.
Yeah, but also we need to understand we're all human.
We're all human. We all, I don't want to say make mistakes because I don't think that's the appropriate language. I think, I want us to go deeper in this one, Shun.
Go deeper.
Because if Nakeli Kago and I say I am, we all allowed to have preferences. Do we go into preferences and identity today?
Okay, so we're going into preferences.
Let's go into it because it falls into part of identity.
Preferences.
We have preferences.
Yes.
And my preference is someone with these attributes. Can I say I don't want a femme presenting person? If a femme presenting person comes with those attributes.
Okay, it's like, I know I have my preferences. What I think is the most important thing is understanding that my preferences will always be based in prejudice.
Always.
And I'm not saying I have to change my preferences. Maybe some of them I do understand what here and there I must keep. Because this is not on.
Yes.
But even the preferences I choose to keep, I understand what this is based in some sort of prejudice.
And it must be interrogated.
Exactly. As long as I'm not denying that. In some cases, I will keep that preference because when I'm like, if I don't want you, I don't want you.
You like what you like. True.
Exactly.
You're right. Your identity and your preference is yours to choose.
Exactly.
Right? But don't be dishonest in interrogating the biases that make up those preferences and that identity. Because when we speak about identity,
I was about to add people.
Is it too messy for episode 1? If we're speaking about identity and the politics of identity, preference is definitely one of those things.
Definitely.
Because there's so much to your preference, which is oftentimes shaped by your identity.
Exactly.
You know? And my identity as a femme body who navigates this LGBT space. Yeah,
and I don't want to say this because it's dangerous also.
Okay.
Because it makes it seem as though queerness can also be taught. Because what I want to say is we were all raised in a very heteronormative society.
Yes, society as a whole.
Therefore, oftentimes people want the opposite of what they present as. So I'm attracted to feminine women because I'm masculine presenting. And it's like, I am aware, like, I've been hit on by masculine before, but I just don't have that attraction. But also, I've interrogated the fact that my attraction is this way because of the heteronormative society I've grown up in. But like, I'm not forcing myself to change it.
Because that's a very good point. Is heteronormativity in society a very centered part of our expression?
It's a big part.
And how we relate, engage, and share that expression. Me being femme is me being femme, not by society, by who I am. But my attraction in its concreteness to wanting to be with someone masculine is that a heteronormative? It is. It has to be.
It is.
Because who said femme and femme, mask and mask can't be?
Exactly.
It's a lot. Wait, see, is it tau? Literally. Because, wow. Obviously, the conversation that we're having is definitely of our experience.
Of course.
Right? And of our knowledge. I think if you're part of this community, it is your duty to read, to learn, educate, and then teach. Right? And so, what? Boo.
Read, learn, educate yourself.
Hey,
then I teach. Teach who?
Teach who? Teach people who are not in the community because they're not going to want to learn for themselves. You need to teach people about your identity.
No. But teaching goes to a certain extent.
Oh no, definitely.
Because at some point, you need to understand that, please, I did not study education. Even if I did, I didn't study for that.
And it's not my responsibility.
Because some people don't want to learn, but they want to ask like they want to learn. I mean, especially if you've been visibly queer for years. I mean, I've been visibly queer for years. You know what I'm saying?
Since the womb.
Like before I was before I even knew I was queer.
Exactly.
You know, so I've been teaching. And like
your mere existence is teaching.
I'm tired.
But is that a burden that we take on by being a community?
That's the thing. I don't think it should be a burden.
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't be a burden that we take on. It should be a choice.
It should be a choice, but this is what I tweeted a couple of months ago, that being visibly queer, let's in my Grindr video, if you've not checked it out, I said that there is a difference between being straight acting and straight passing. A couple of months ago I tweeted that being visibly queer is an act of political rebellion, as much as being black in itself is an act of rebellion to a white society.
Yes.
But if you are not visibly queer, you benefit from the work of everybody who is visibly queer. And so should it not be everybody's responsibility? You don't have to be visibly queer, nobody's saying that. But it is your duty, especially if you're straight passing, to make a space safer. And therefore to educate people in that space to make it safer. Because you benefit from the work of people like me who don't go with the intention of teaching, but by virtue of being visibly queer, are forced to be a teacher.
Of course.
Is it not your responsibility as a straight identifying? There are people who say I'm queer, but I'm straight passing and I identify as straight passing because I want to be. Because that makes my space safer. We don't have to get into that. But get responsibility, man.
I still think, as a straight person, you need to understand everywhere you turn, queer people are going to be there.
Exactly. We've been here.
And if you're choosing not to learn, it's on you. Like, a part of me wants to put it on straight passing people, but I don't want to because, like, there's a burden they also have to carry. Although it's not, and I'm not at all saying their burden is not big.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that ours is like, I'm just going to the shop to get bread. I'm getting stares. I'm getting threats. Just the 5-meter walk. You know what I'm saying?
To me.
It's too long.
It's long. But I understand what you're saying. The point is, you're threatened even in the smallest spaces.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But still, nothing in my heart makes me want to put it on straight passing people, because I understand that they do have their own struggles.
But
Maybe it's because me, I'm tired of teaching.
That's the ons is katele.
Like, I do what I do on my channel, and that's enough. But please,
what?
Don't catch me out there and expect me to teach you.
On this point, I want to bring them into something a bit more intimate. June, International Pride Month. Queer X and Kago with the cuteness thought about having this segment. But we thought, are we burdening ourselves with the responsibility of being teachers just because we're queer? And the truth is,
Honestly,
we're doing this now because, you know what? It's on our own terms. It's not because pride is pushing us to do that. It's not because we feel hori. Hey man, we owe it to our community. We're here because we feel like we have valuable things to talk about. Conversations of a space for queer bodies willing to listen.
Because we were honestly so tired, but we felt like there's something we need to push out, because as people who are visibly queer, we need to say something during Pride Month. But I was tired. Because we're dealing with a lot.
We live that fatigue as well.
Exactly. And that's another thing. At least we're doing it together. But do you understand when, like, straight corporations and whatnot call you to want to speak about your experience, and then
Let's talk about it.
And not pay you because you just
no. No.
It's not exposure. It's tiring.
It's my life. It's my time.
Exactly. It's my
life and my time.
If we're saying I'm speaking about, I don't know, video games or something like that, maybe.
The hobby.
Exactly.
This is not a hobby.
This is not a hobby. This is my life.
This is my experience.
Exactly.
This is my identity.
Exactly.
I
I wake up, I brush my teeth, I put on my clothes.
And you're queer doing it.
It doesn't stop because I've walked out your studio.
You're queer doing it. Pay me my money. Run me my equity. Run me my checks. Right? Because this identity is more than just an identity, it's an experience.
Exactly.
It's a lived reality. And so, you know what? No matter where you fall on the spectrum of identity, I think, what do we want people to take away? Nothing is absolute.
Exactly. And it's fluid.
It is fluid.
I think I've heard people say it. I don't think people say it enough because, and I don't mean to jump into another conversation. I just want to say small.
You know what? Here's the thing before you go. Identity is fluid.
Exactly.
And so will our conversations be.
Exactly.
They will wait again. Give me money, just we go. When the wind blows. Why you? Period.
Hi, do.
Let's go.
No, but I just want to say, like, because I know a lot of people, like, of course, because I'm masked.
Okay.
I had or have masked friends when I was younger, who are now femme, who are now straight, who are now, you know? And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, why are you? And it's like, relax.
Concrete.
Identity is fluid.
Identity is yours and yours.
It's not rigid. It's not like not. You know what I can't do is hug it like a crop top.
But
what's popping?
What's cooking oil?
What's popping?
And
You
you're
know what I'm
like,
saying?
but.
So I think that's the most important thing to note. Like even as yourself, like one day and maybe you'll be scared to present how you feel because you've presented like this for so long. What's got to happen, babes?
Don't be afraid.
It's fluid.
And it's fluid in all types of identities. And you know what? Another thing, masked, femme, live your life, right? And I think I want to make this point, and maybe it's not my place to speak, but you are not emasculated if you do some femme things.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
No, yes.
Because
No, yes.
as a femme body, I walk into spaces, I walk into conversation. I want you, if you want to study week, it's a week.
Exactly.
Manala. Whether you're a boy, girl, non-binary, makeup, eyelash, murizi, dilash, dintuntu, diet, you are not emasculated even in your identity.
No, that's very true.
Because I think also men in particular are afraid. Try it, especially if you're queer. Especially anybody can do anything, but especially if you're queer, live freely, as free as you can be, because the world doesn't want you.
And I wish I knew heard that. I wish I knew that.
I wish I knew what I know now.
What
I knew then.
Because a younger me was, maybe some people couldn't tell, but I think a younger me was much more masculine than I am now. You know? I mean, I'm masculine, but I'm a baddie.
What kind of
always be a baddie.
You like the baddest in the school, in the game, in her own fucking lane. Period.
Exactly.
No tampon.
Exactly. You know? But that took a lot of learning. Because I was very desperate to be seen as what I am presenting to people. So I didn't want to dip my foot out that box.
Now comfort.
You know? But now
we must go into that in the next segment. Next week Friday.
Definitely.
But for this video, I think we've heard a lot. Ribuile.
Man.
We have unpacked. And now the box is for you too. Unpack your own bag, pack it back, learn, unlearn, be better, identify with whatever you want to identify as. But push the boundaries of that identity, because it's yours to play with. You know, it's not cement, it's clay. Build, break, do what you want. But that's all from me and Queer X. We're going to next week Friday. But until then, remember what I always say. Be a bad bitch. Wait. I was going to say don't suck dick. Be a bad bitch and don't suck dick. I'm saying it. I'm saying and don't suck the dick. Bye.
And I see that we should have planned the intro start.
Hey beautifuls, welcome back to my no. Is the lighting fine?
The lighting is fine.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Do it, hello, shit.
Oh, pause. Please go pause there.
Buhle, please be professional. What are we talking about today?
So on queerness, right? You know, we're speaking, of course, about the.
Hey beautifuls, welcome back to my channel. I'm Komi Mutoko Minaj, and this is Buhle's.
What do you want to do, Kago?
We're the baddest in the school, the baddest in the game, the baddest in our own, the baddest in our own. What? The baddest. That was so good. Okay, this is the last take.